A lot of you guys have been asking for a solo build to do this abyss dungeon, so you guys don't have to keep looking for group to farm for your tokens, your weapon mastery, and all that. So for today's build, we're gonna be using staff 1 because of the high damage of staff and also the capability of self-healing using the wand, which I'm gonna show you right now. We're right in front of the Burkhead Manor, and I'm gonna just pull some mobs here at the entrance of this dungeon just to show you guys how powerful this build is. So we're going to be pulling all the mobs and then just get ourselves behind this bookshelf here so all the mobs will be grouped up together. The first thing that you want to do is just cast Touch of Despair. Make sure you guys have the increased range specializations. This way you guys can apply the dodge or damage over time to multiple targets. Then all you have to do is just perform any damage. Let's do all our AoE damage right here with focus firebombs with increased range as well that will hit multiple targets within 3 meters. We're going to use Chain Lightning, which will bounce around and drop this lightning AoE on the ground. Also Judgment Lightning, which will bounce around as well. As you can see, I keep getting health back the more damage I deal to these enemies. And I don't even have to use any of my healing abilities. I'm going to show you guys the full build later on. The self-heal will only work if you apply Touch of Despair or Curse on your targets. In this case, we're going to be applying to multiple targets, so any damage done to them will heal you the same amount, which is really ridiculous to be honest. So of course, if you're getting low on health, you can always use your healing abilities. I'm going to use this Blast Barrier followed by the Fountain of Life, which will give you some mana and health. And then you just have to hold your Q block and your character will get full health, and then you can also use Inner Peace to get some mana. Alright, now let's straight talk about the active and passive skills. The most important passive skill that you need to pick is this Vampiric Contract in order for this whole build to work. As I explained earlier, the more target that you curse or put this Touch of Despair on, and then any damage dealt to them will heal you. Just make sure not to turn off the Vampiric Contract from your weapon mastery, which I'm going to show you guys later on. Next, just choose all the healing passive skills from your wand, like Noble Revival, Devotion of Emptiness, Saint Oath, and all those good stuff. You're going to be picking Flame Condensation for that extra burning damage. As for the Mana Amp, this is optional. You can swap this with the Asceticism, which will give you mana regen, also heavy attack chance if you're standing still. You'll be standing still most of the time as well, tanking all this mob, so it is a good pick. And finally, you want to pick the Forbidden Sanctuary for that skill damage boost. As for the active skills, you guys can follow the skills on my hotbar right here. Once you've done that, I'm going to be explaining to you each and every skill specialization for this build. Alright, let's start with the staff specialization. Firstly, you want to choose Focus Firebombs. And then you want to choose the one that will allow you to cast while moving, and finally increase range, which will allow you to hit multiple nearby targets while using Focus Firebombs. As for the Chain Lightning, you want to use Chaining Bolt. This will drop the lightning AoE on the ground. And you want to be also choosing Damage Transfer because it will transfer to multiple targets regardless if they are wet or not. You don't have to choose the last one, which will retain the damage, because the most important damage will come from the lightning AoE on the ground, but not from the chain lightning itself. For the Fireball Barrage, this is not important as it's for single target. I have this 2 specialization because I'm using this build for large scale PvP as well. So the first spec is basically to increase your damage based on the burning stacks, and the second one will reduce the cooldown. Alright, the next one is for single target as well. I spec it in Weapon Mastery to turn it into Detonator Bombardment, which I took the increased damage. This is really good for burst damage in PvP. For a base dungeon, if you curse a target and use this ability, it will basically heal you up to full. So it's going to be handy as well. Alright, for the Judgment Lightning, you're going to be picking up Damage Transfer, which will transfer Judgment Lightning regardless if the target is wet or not, and also transfer the full damage. As for the wand specs, for Touch of Despair, you want to increase the radius, which will allow you to multi-dot. For Swift Healing, basically you use the first 3. This is bread and butter to heal other players and yourself. I use this for large-scale PvP. For Clays of Salvation, you want to be picking up Weaken Removal just in case you need to dispel any weaken on yourself. And finally, for the Fountain of Life, you want to get the mana regen and also increase radius. So those are the weapon specs. Now let's get to the artifacts. So for the artifact, I like to make myself as tanky as possible to tank all those mobs. So I'm going to be using double Forsaken Zealot for that defense, the Greed Seeker for that endurance, and also Ancestral Armor for that health. And you have that Ancestral Solar, so you can get like 5k health instantly. And for the passive, whenever you get stunned or CC'd, your skill damage resistance will increase. And finally, here's the weapon mastery. Let's start with the staff here. You can just follow my build right here. So basically, you want to choose all these defensive stats. You're going to be getting the mana shield that will increase your defense for melee, range, and also magic, depending on your mana regen. You're going to pick up this mana overflow and also spirit perseverance, which will reduce your debuff time depending on the mana that you have. Then you want to be picking up all these offensive talents like skill damage boost, heavy attack chance, max damage, and all that until you get the power surge, which will increase your max damage based on your mana. I also pick up this detonator bombardment at the bottom right here, which I mainly use for PvP. As for the wand mastery, you want to be picking the divine choice, which will increase your healing but reduce your damage over time. You also want to be picking blast haste here, which will reduce your healing cooldown. I haven't got this yet because you need to get above 120 points for your wand. So I definitely will get this talent right here. And the rest of my wand points are basically defensive, but some I put into offense as well. It's just I have to be careful not to trigger any of the offense synergy because they will reduce your healing significantly or change your passive. So you don't want to do that, especially the Vampiric Contract. You don't want to turn Vampiric Contract into offense because you will completely lose the healing, which is the bread and butter for this build. So that wraps up today's video. Hope this guide is helpful. Don't forget to hit that like and also subscribe. As always, this is your regular adventurer Kasum to help you guys out. Peace out.